I think the focus is going to be very much how the new CEO, Kelly Ortberg, who came in August, is going to be carrying the business forward because he has demonstrated in his first months of leadership incredible focus as a leader through crisis. The numbers that are coming out in terms of the preliminary results that have been reported by Boeing are not a surprise because exactly as you said, he walked into the start of a 7-week strike costing over 4.5 billion. So there's a lot of recovery required. And as is very clear, you can't just switch on production again. The entire supply chain has to be reactivated. And it's very good to hear from your clip just before you and I talked that the airlines are being empathetic towards that. Because ultimately, the world needs aviation and aviation needs Boeing for cargo, for travel, for military. So there's a great degree of empathy and support that we're seeing because ultimately there's fundamental belief in Boeing as being one of the most innovative, trusted, iconic aircraft manufacturers that our world has. And we all need Boeing to get back in the sky again and do it without the red ink.
It's interesting, Anita, to hear you talk about Boeing as one of the most trusted aircraft manufacturers that we have, given the events of the last few years. So how would you describe investor confidence in the aircraft maker? Yes, the airlines are becoming more constructive in how they talk about it, but they've obviously got something at stake there. They need the deliveries to come through. So what is the investment community thinking?
There's a proceeding with caution, but enormous optimism from the point of view of the deliveries are going to be held back in terms of momentum until before, and that won't change until the regulators give the permission for the airline manufacturers to start turning up the production rates. So there's going to be an enormous amount of focus put not just on the numbers, but actually on the engagement that's taking place between the CEO of Boeing, Kelly Ortberg, and the regulators, the FAA in the United States. This is going to be critical. Thankfully, Kelly has provided quite remarkable leadership strength walking into the job. He came out of retirement. He has been very visible, very audible to all of the key stakeholders, to staff, to regulators, to investors, to customers, and to the flying public. But what we know is going forward, he cannot do this alone. Boeing is taking on this challenge. They're doing it with enormous focus. They've had to make some very hard decisions. But going forward, I do believe there is reason to remain extremely confident because, again, we fundamentally need Boeing to get back in the air because it is ultimately part of the critical ecosystem of our world's economy and our world society, not to mention the future of sustainable aviation. So there is a great deal of hope, and it's nice to see again that the stakeholder ecosystem is being very supportive of Boeing and the challenge that it faces.
Anita, let me ask you just for disclosure purposes, whether your consulting firm has a relationship with Boeing for our viewers?
I do not have a commercial relationship with Boeing nor a political relationship in any way. I'm an independent consultant, and thank you for asking about that. I work very closely with the aviation and travel and tourism community as a whole, but I do not have any employment or commercial relationship at all with Boeing. I do, however, have enormous respect and enormous faith in the future of Boeing.